Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today, we're dissecting the latest financial numbers from Borosil Renewables Limited. They're a key player in the solar glass manufacturing space, so this should be an insightful look.
Absolutely. Borosil Renewables is India's first and only manufacturer of solar glass. They also have European subsidiaries like Geosphere Glassworks, GmbH, Laxman AG, GmbH Glass Manufaktur Brandenburg, GmbH, and Interfloat Corporation, which play a significant role in their consolidated picture.
Alright, so they've released their audited financial results for the fourth quarter, and the full financial year ended March 31st, 2025. The board meeting to approve these results was held on May 10th, 2025. We'll be looking at both their standalone and consolidated performance. So let's kick things off with the standalone numbers. What's the revenue looking like?
Starting with the standalone revenue from operations for the fourth quarter of FY25, it came in at 327.23 crore rupees. This is a strong performance compared to the 227.33 crore rupees in the fourth quarter of FY24, marking a significant year-over-year increase.
That's a good jump year over year for the quarter. How does it compare to the immediately preceding quarter Q3 FY25?
Quarter over quarter, the Q4 FY25 revenue of 327.23 crore rupees is also up nicely from 275.28 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. So positive momentum both year over year and quarter over quarter on the standalone top line for Q4. For the full financial year FY25, standalone revenue was 1,109.94 crore rupees, up from 990.28 crore rupees in FY24.
Good to see that growth. Now let's talk about profitability. What can we infer about EBITDA on a standalone basis?
Okay, while EBITDA isn't explicitly stated, we can approximate it. For Q4 FY25 standalone, the profit before tax or PBT was 44.95 crore rupees. Adding back depreciation of 24.84 crore rupees and finance costs of 7.24 crore rupees, we get an approximate EBITDA of 77.03 crore rupees. This is a massive improvement from an approximate EBITDA of 13.13 crore rupees in Q4 FY24, where they had a PBT loss.
That's a remarkable turnaround in EBITDA for the quarter year over year. What about the quarter over quarter EBITDA trend for standalone?
Quarter over quarter, the Q4 FY25 approximate standalone EBITDA of 77.03 crore rupees is also substantially higher than the approximate 20.89 crore rupees in Q3 FY25, which also saw a PBT loss. So a very strong sequential improvement as well. For the full year FY25, approximate standalone EBITDA stands at around 180.51 crore rupees, up significantly from about 118.93 crore rupees in FY24.
Sticking with standalone, let's look at profit before tax or PBT and profit after tax PAT.
For Q4 FY25 standalone, PBT was a profit of 44.95 crore rupees, a stark contrast to a loss of 17.54 crore rupees in Q4 FY24. Quarter over quarter, this is also a significant turnaround from a PBT loss of 10.55 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. Following this, the standalone profit after tax or PAT for Q4 FY25 was 33.13 crore rupees. This compares very favorably to a loss of 13.37 crore rupees in Q4 FY24 and a loss of 8.64 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. For the full year FY25, standalone PBT was 46.86 crore rupees against a loss of 21.34 crore rupees in FY24. And full year PAT was 33.47 crore rupees, turning around from a loss of 16.52 crore rupees in FY24.
And how does this translate to earnings per share or EPS on the standalone side?
The standalone basic EPS for Q4 FY25 was 2.52 rupees. This is up from a negative 1.02 rupees in Q4 FY24 and a negative 0.66 rupees in Q3 FY25. For the full year FY25, standalone EPS stood at 2.56 rupees compared to a negative 1.27 rupees in FY24.
Any significant other income we should note for standalone?
Yes, standalone other income for Q4 FY25 was 6.87 crore rupees. This is higher than the 5.21 crore rupees in Q4 FY24 and also significantly up from 1.84 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. For the full year, it was 16.50 crore rupees, slightly down from 17.50 crore rupees in FY24.
Okay, so the standalone picture looks quite robust with a strong recovery. Now let's shift our focus to the consolidated results. This will include their international operations. How does the consolidated revenue shape up for Q4 and the full year?
On the consolidated front, revenue from operations for Q4 FY25 was 373.54 crore rupees. This is an increase compared to 283.21 crore rupees in Q4 FY24.
That's a decent year-over-year growth in consolidated revenue for the quarter. And quarter-over-quarter?
Quarter-over-quarter, the Q4 FY25 consolidated revenue of 373.54 crore rupees is slightly up from 361.49 crore rupees in Q3 FY25, so modest sequential growth. For the full financial year FY25, consolidated revenue was 1,479.33 crore rupees, up from 1,373.69 crore rupees in FY24.
And the consolidated EBITDA story? How does that look?
Approximating consolidated EBITDA for Q4 FY25, PBT was a loss of 18.50 crore rupees. Adding back depreciation of 36.24 crore rupees and finance costs of 9.54 crore rupees, we get an approximate EBITDA of 27.28 crore rupees. This is an improvement compared to Q4 FY24, which had an approximate negative EBITDA of 20.42 crore rupees, as PBT then was a loss of 57.17 crore rupees.
Interesting. So consolidated EBITDA turned positive in Q4 year-over-year. What about quarter-over-quarter for consolidated EBITDA?
Quarter-over-quarter, the Q4 FY25 approximate consolidated EBITDA of 27.28 crore rupees is also a significant improvement from an approximate EBITDA of just 4.98 crore rupees in Q3 FY25, where the PBT loss was much higher at 32.02 crore rupees. For the full year FY25, the approximate consolidated EBITDA is around 92.59 crore rupees, which is lower than the approximate 108.21 crore rupees in FY24. This annual decline is something to note, despite the quarterly improvement.
Let's look at the consolidated profit before tax and profit after tax.
For Q4 FY25 consolidated, the loss before tax or LBT was 18.50 crore rupees. This is a reduction in loss compared to an LBT of 57.17 crore rupees in Q4 FY24. Sequentially, it's also a reduced loss from an LBT of 32.02 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. Consequently, the consolidated loss after tax or LAT for Q4 FY25 was 29.53 crore rupees. This is an improvement from a loss of 53.32 crore rupees in Q4 FY24 and also better than the loss of 30.07 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. However, for the full year FY25, the consolidated loss before tax was 74.38 crore rupees, which is a larger loss compared to 52.73 crore rupees in FY24. The full year loss after tax for FY25 was 86.97 crore rupees, widening from a loss of 50.27 crore rupees in FY24.
So while the quarterly consolidated losses are narrowing, the annual consolidated loss has increased. How does this affect the consolidated EPS?
The consolidated basic EPS for Q4 FY25 was a negative 1.53 rupees based on loss attributable to owners. This is an improvement from a negative 3.68 rupees in Q4 FY24 and slightly better than a negative 2.05 rupees in Q3 FY25. For the full year FY25, consolidated EPS was a negative 5.32 rupees, worse than the negative 3.59 rupees in FY24.
And consolidated other income?
Consolidated other income for Q4 FY25 was 11.91 crore rupees, up from 4.62 crore rupees in Q4 FY24, but down from 15.07 crore rupees in Q3 FY25. For the full year, it was 35.25 crore rupees, a significant increase from 16.77 crore rupees in FY24.
So a clear divergence. Standalone is profitable and improving, while consolidated is loss-making, though Q4 showed some sequential and year-over-year reduction in losses. What does this tell us about profitability margins?
For standalone in Q4 FY25, the PAT margin was around 10.12%, a remarkable turnaround. For consolidated in Q4 FY25, it's still a negative PAT margin of about negative 7.9%, but that's an improvement from much deeper negative margins in prior comparable quarters. The profitability is clearly driven by the standalone Indian operations, while the overseas subsidiaries are a drag on the consolidated numbers.
Were there any exceptional items reported in either standalone or consolidated results that we should be aware of?
For FY25, there were no exceptional items reported in either standalone or consolidated results. This gives us a cleaner view of the operational performance for the current year. For FY24 consolidated, there was an exceptional income of 32.44 crore rupees, which actually helped reduce the reported loss in that year. Its absence this year makes the YoY comparison for consolidated PAT look worse than it might otherwise.
Let's touch upon the balance sheet. Any major changes in debt or equity?
On the standalone balance sheet, as of March 31, 2025, total equity increased to 1,089.31 crore rupees from 861.75 crore rupees a year ago, partly due to profits and equity infusion. Standalone borrowings, both non-current and current, have decreased. On the consolidated side, total equity also increased to 999.71 crore rupees from 892.76 crore rupees. More notably, consolidated non-current borrowings saw a significant reduction to 161.21 crore rupees from 419.17 crore rupees. Current borrowings also decreased. This deleveraging is a positive sign.
What about cash flows? Any highlights there?
For standalone FY25, net cash from operating activities was a healthy 186.45 crore rupees, up from 92.26 crore rupees in FY24. However, after significant outflows in investing activities, mainly loans to subsidiaries of about 250 crore rupees, and financing activities which included proceeds from equity issuance of 190.54 crore rupees and government grants of 86.62 crore rupees, the net decrease in cash was 13.86 crore rupees. Consolidated net cash from operating activities for FY25 was 99.79 crore rupees, up from 68.75 crore rupees. However, net cash used in financing activities was high at negative 52.68 crore rupees, largely due to a substantial repayment of non-current borrowings of over 300 crore rupees despite equity proceeds and grants. This led to a net decrease in cash and cash equivalents of 95 crore rupees for the year on a consolidated basis.
The company mentions it operates in a single segment, manufacturing of flat glass. So, no detailed segment performance to dissect there.
That's correct. Note 7 in the standalone results and Note 8 in the consolidated results confirm they are a single segment company, so all these numbers pertain to their primary business of flat glass manufacturing.
Let's look at some of the significant notes in the report. The auditor's report for standalone financials had an emphasis of matter. What was that about?
Yes, for the standalone financials, the auditors Chaturvedi and Shah LLP issued an unmodified opinion, which is good. However, they included an emphasis of matter. This relates to Note 4 of the financial results concerning the temporary suspension of manufacturing operations at GmbH Glass Manufaktur Brandenburg GmbH, which is a step-down subsidiary in Germany. Management believes that market conditions are likely to improve and expects a resumption of operations, and thus, no adjustment is required to the carrying value of the company's exposure in its subsidiaries GmbH and Geosphere Glassworks GmbH, aggregating to 324.34 crore rupees. The auditors draw attention to this note, but state their opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. This is a key point for investors to monitor.
That's a significant exposure to a non-operating subsidiary. What about the consolidated auditor's report? Any qualifications or key matters there?
The consolidated auditor's report, also by Chaturvedi and Shah LLP, provides an unmodified opinion. There are no qualifications. However, it includes other matter paragraphs. One highlights that the consolidated financials include the results of two subsidiaries, which include two step-down subsidiaries, whose financials were audited by other auditors. These subsidiaries reported a total net loss after tax of 62.48 crore rupees for Q4 FY25 and a loss of 120.08 crore rupees for the full year FY25. The auditor's opinion on the consolidated results, insofar as it relates to these subsidiaries, is based solely on the reports of the other auditors. Another other matter paragraph refers to the unaudited financial information of two associate companies, which are not material to the group. The auditor's opinion is not modified in respect of these matters.
So, essentially, the standalone Indian business is doing well, but the consolidated figures are heavily impacted by losses in the foreign subsidiaries, whose audits are done by other firms. What other significant events or notes were mentioned?
A key event was the fund infusion. In February 2025, the company allotted equity shares and warrants on a preferential basis, raising around 190.54 crore rupees from promoters and non-promoter investors. A significant portion of this, 185 crore rupees, was used to satisfy liabilities arising from a standby letter of credit extended for GMB, the German subsidiary. Also, Note 5 explains that during Q4 FY25, the company facilitated a payment of 21 million euros for GMB's outstanding loans through drawdown of SBLCs. As a result, Borosil Renewables has effectively become a lender to GMB for this amount. This explains the large loan-to-subsidiary outflow in the standalone cash flow. The company is also seeking shareholder approval to raise further funds up to 500 crore rupees, which indicates future capital needs or strategic plans.
So, wrapping this up, what's the overall outlook and key risks for Borosil Renewables based on these results?
The standalone business in India shows strong signs of recovery and profitability. However, the consolidated performance is weighed down by the European subsidiaries, particularly GMB, which has suspended operations. The emphasis of matter regarding the carrying value of this investment is a crucial risk. The outlook depends heavily on the revival of the European operations and the effective utilization of any new funds raised. The reduction in consolidated debt is a positive. Key drivers will be demand for solar glass, global energy policies, and managing operational costs. Risks include continued losses from overseas operations, the uncertainty around GMB's resumption, and raw material price volatility. And of course, our standard disclaimer, this is for informational purposes only, and investors should consult with certified financial advisors before making any investment decisions.
So, the main takeaways are a resilient standalone performance for Borosil Renewables in India, but significant challenges and losses from its international subsidiaries that cloud the consolidated picture. The auditor's notes also highlight areas needing careful investor attention.
Precisely. The Indian operations are a bright spot, but the path to consolidated profitability hinges on turning around or strategically addressing the issues in the European entities.
Thanks for that detailed analysis. That's all the time we have for today. Join us next time for more financial insights.